Yeah, so basically what we're looking at with newspapers and print publishers is a lot of times they had sort of a monopoly on information coming from feeds like Reuters and many others that they had aggregated themselves, and so now they're upset because basically what's happening is the entire world gets the feed, right? So not only that, but also the producers, the users themselves are becoming producers. So they're producing for each other, like on Facebook and Twitter and so on. And that is also, of course, damaging this sort of exclusive access model, very much like the music industry had the same model, right? So I think any system based on monopoly right now, by market default, is in trouble, right? Because people go around it and they find other ways. So what they need to do is to incorporate everyone in there. So basically also aggregate people's voices and opinions, like the New York Times has started to do. Or things like, of course, Dig and many others that are aggregators, and include that with the professional things that they do without having to be too sort of insular about what they do and how they do it. So I think curation there is key, because most people that have to go through 500 feeds of some sort of news event, it would take them hours to go through it and pick the right ones. Professional reporter can do that in 5 minutes. And they have the skills to select photos and those kind of things, right? And those will be very valuable, but not if you put them under a wrapper. So it's not going to be easy, because having had a monopoly on the viewers and the information has put them into a very sort of privileged position. Now the monopoly of viewers, they go somewhere else, and the news feeds go somewhere else as well. So now they have to create a new platform to where they add value in different ways.
Well, that was a pretty interesting video, wasn't it? You know, it kind of just basically, you know, winds everything into one. That gives you, you know, a pretty singular idea of what curation is all about. And it's about people doing their own research. It's about people in your social network who no longer listen to the mainstream news, because I think, you know, I think the cat's out of the bag. I mean, you know, there's information we want to uncover versus information that they want us to be fed, and that is the power of content marketing and content creation. And you know, the idea with curation is that you don't have to start, you know, as an expert in any way, shape, or form. You know, really, when you get right down to it, you know, a good curator is an individual that can, you know, read an article or choose from a selection of articles, you know, the very best one that appeals to their target market at that particular time. And that's what curation is all about. That's what being a good curator is all about. And once they choose that article, they're going to pick the best one. And out of the best ones, they're going to pick the one that fits most with what's going on in their niche or their their niche market or whatever they're involved in at that moment. And that's the one they'll be able to read, and then once reading, be able to put into their own words or in their own argument in a way that, you know, introduces the problem, and at the end of everything, you know, offer the solution. And this is what people are looking for. And that's content marketing, that's content curation in a nutshell. And tonight we're going to go one step further. And it plays a little bit more upon the video where Gerd talked about, you know, the big boys are in trouble because they don't include that. They don't include that collaboration with the influencers that are really truly their influencers, and that's their readers, but that's their customers. So business now, especially the mainstream media, is trying to figure it out. They're trying to catch up to the early purveyors of content marketing. They're trying to catch up with the small niche marketer. And they're trying to figure out, well, what is their secret formula? How are they doing this? Well, the formula is simple. To be able to add your own insight and your own comment in an ongoing way that will create conversation in your social media. A conversation that is shared and built upon over time. And tonight we're going to talk about that as being organic content. And organic content is extremely important to your success in marketing in any way. So, let's talk about content marketing in 5 easy steps as a review. And then we'll get a little bit more into content marketing, curation marketing, and content selling, and how it all relates. Ready to go? Here we go. When content became king, marketers became publishers. And you saw in the video that started this program tonight that everyone who is a user of content is a publisher of content as well. And they are able to put their own idea, their own fingerprint on that content in a way that it is shared and in a way that it is added to. And that is the power. That is the power of curating content. So rather than sell, today our focus is how do I drive that conversation? How do I create that frenzy about the information that I'm able to put out there? And if you put out good information at the right time and that right moment, you're going to lure a lot of people to your doorsteps. But Ann Handley was one of the first people where I started learning about content creation and the importance it has to not only large business, but smaller business as well. And more indeed to us, the little home business guy who doesn't have a lot of time to create content. So we have to rely on our ability to curate that content to help us along the way. Because my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, we're small business people, we're home people here. We don't have time to sit there and create content over and over and over and over. You just don't have that time. But we all have the ability to curate content for our blogs that can potentially, depending on our ability to get it out there, drive a lot of people to our doorstep. And if you're really cognizant about your social market, about your social niche, then you should be able to, over time, over experimentation with the content you're providing, you should be able to push that button and get people to share you. But it's a learned skill and it takes time. But you will begin to see that traffic build over time to your business, to your website, and eventually in your pocketbook too. After all, that's what we're talking about. Last week we talked about shift frequency with over 16 million views. Well, this weekend I had a chance to talk to Dan Seghetti. He's our son. He's also an MBA graduate, so he's got his MBA in business. And we were talking about website traffic. Well, he started talking about the blog that they have for their electric bike business and how many views they get each month. Well, when I told him about shift frequency, he was astounded, and he needs to know more about content creation, because when you get 16 million views to an opportunity like the business he's running, that's a lot of sales in his pocket, especially if he's providing the information that niche is looking for. And that niche is thirsty. It's a new niche. The electric bike niche, it's a new niche. So it can be something that can be accomplished with the right attitude going into it. But once again, once you start, you can't stop feeding the information to your target market. And that's the really cool thing about us becoming publishers. Because people are not going to mainstream. People, how many people shop by catalog today? Well, not too many. But a few people do. More people are shopping online, talking to their social network, finding out what's working, what isn't working. So if you learn to curate in a way that creates social content, social discussion, then you're doing a really, 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 really good job. But it's a learned thing over time. So what is the topic that people want to hear from you every day? On what topic do you have that unique perspective or passion for? On what topic do you want to be known as a thought leader? Now look, there are a lot of blogs out there that curate content, and they have proven that they can earn a great deal of income each month simply by following their passion. Google, through Google Ads. Bing, through Bing Ads. Yahoo, Amazon.com. You have a lot of opportunity to drive a lot of traffic to those places simply by adding a little widget to your blog. And you can be displaying these ads, and when people click on them, you're going to get paid. So there are a number of ways to do it. Some people have if you love my blog, donate here. It's not a subscription cost, right? It's just a donate cost. So you can write on any topic you want to. And you can include your number one business as an ad or an advertorial on that site to drive traffic to it. And I'm going to get to advertorials in a few moments when we talk about the latest blog post. So there's the latest blog post on the curationworks.com/blog that everyone has to go look at. It has outstanding information that'll help you along your path as a curator, as a content marketer. So identify that topic. It doesn't have to be about your business. It doesn't. It could be about your hobby. It could be about what you love. And you're going to follow the people or the influencers on your topic, aren't you? You're going to follow the bloggers. You're going to follow the analysts. If you're into stock trading, you're into the trade publications. You're into all the journals. Everything you used to do when you worked in the brick and mortar business, you're going to do here. You're going to get those magazines. You're going to follow the industry leaders. And you're going to follow someone who you want to be like the most. It's a pretty simple formula. Now you're going to aggregate everything these guys talk about. You're going to prioritize and organize content from your influencers that complement your topic. And from this, you can create blog posts, videos. You can have a weekly newsletter. You're going to have your RSS feeds available. You've got Twitter. You've got Facebook. You've got LinkedIn. You've got all those things to help you along your marketing way. Now, the idea let me go back one slide. Sorry, I forgot to mention this. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, most themes you buy today, or you can get a plug-in, so that once your blog post is completed, it can throw it up on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn for you. Publish once, and you're going to 4 places, not just one. It reduces the amount of time that you are spending, Twittering, Facebook, and LinkedIn about your own subject that you just posted. So it's nice to post once and get it done for those things. But the idea is, for those social networks, you still have to get in there and create conversation about it. So curate your subject. Don't pirate it. And this week's blog post will give you a pretty good idea what a curation is. Because I took very little out of the article. So the article contains a lot of information that'll help you through your own self-discovery by looking through and reading it. So we always attribute our sources, we link to the original content, and we're very cognizant of fair use practices. Now you can include content that doesn't agree with your position. I think it was last week, I included her content, but I really didn't agree with what her overall attitude toward it was. So it's good to add that. It creates conversation as well. It doesn't have to follow what I think is the best way to do it. And this is what she thought. Think about it this way too, ladies and gentlemen. Is aggregated content an easier way for the home business person to put updated information on their blog, knowing full well that Google will penalize them for duplicate content? Now, if that happens, you're not going to show up on the Google pages too often. Maybe not at all. I'm not sure. We'll ask Steve about that later. But here is the kicker. Most of small business people don't really rely on their blog to get the stuff done. They rely on social media to get the stuff done because that's where they spend most of their time. So it's one of those things to consider. I really don't think aggregated content is the way to go. But it's something I was thinking of throwing on my personal blog just to see how that flies. Well, we'll see. I'll let you know the results. All right. Blog. You've got social media, you've got email, you've got RSS, you've got newsletters. You're going to share it everywhere. Remember, once you share that content that creates that social fever that has everybody talking about it, you have to keep feeding them. You have to keep finding that innovative way to get people to come back to your doorstep. Because if you stop feeding them the information, let's talk about Dan's business. If they stop feeding the niche market of electric bike makers and hobbyists and people who are into electric bikes, people will stop going to their website. So you have to continue doing it. Now, I'm not saying your website's going to die. I am saying your reputation is somewhat soiled, and it's going to take a lot of sucking up to get your people back. And the best way to do that is to start providing the information that they're looking for. And create a mission statement stating that that's what your goal is, to provide that information to them on an ongoing basis. And they'll keep coming back for more. They'll keep coming back for more. So the content you produce and curate is designed to achieve a number of things for you. Define your goals. If you define your goals, you can make smart content decisions. And when you're making smart content decisions, they very much include who is your target market? What do they want? How can I best get it to them? So each piece of information you give them moves them closer to what your objectives are for them. It might be to buy something. It may be to get them to subscribe to something. But it's some sort of positive action your audience can take or make that will help you achieve your objectives. So the curation strategy, the best practices, you're following the influencers. Let's say you've got 4 or 5 of them. You could keep curating content just from those 4 or 5, but it's best to include other people too, and limit the number of articles you curate from any one source and mix it up. You've got 5, so maybe you might want to curate 2 on one day, and then 3 on another day, and mix it up with 2 or 3 or 4 on the next day. But don't keep doing one guy only over and over and over again, because that's boring. People will stop going to you. They'll just go right to his site, because he'll find his content more exciting than yours. So you got to mix it up. Now, only reproduce a small portion of the headline or article to get your point across. Experts only use a small portion of the original article. I'll have to get Steve to tell me if I'm an expert yet or not, but I only used a small portion of the original article to get my information or my thoughts across. Sharing images, we're using a thumbnail, and we have retitled everything we curate, and so should you. Identify the source of the article. Link to the original article prominently. Do not use no-follow links on your site anymore. In the old days, we used to put a no-follow because we didn't want the spiders leaving our site. Well, today, with the way SEO is calculated, we want that there, because Google's about sharing. And the more they know we're sharing, the more love we get back. Be creative in all your curation efforts. Use your voice. People will start loving you, and it'll improve your profile. And when that occurs, you're going to, it's going to leverage everything you do. Make your commentary longer than the excerpt that you are reposting. That's evident in the latest blog post you'll find on curationworks.com, and here it is, /blog. Now, let's talk a little bit about this. I find this post, or the information that I got from this, or the takeaway I got from this entire post, is that content selling, it's not about selling your content or selling it's not about you writing content and selling it. It is a trend that is starting to show its face in 2015. And what it is, all it is exactly what we talked about earlier tonight when we're talking about social networking, when we're talking about creating content that is widely shared. This is why it is not so important to concentrate on your time on a blog about work. That might not be exciting for you. That's why it may be time that you start spending time on a blog that represents what you have your passion for. Simply by doing that, you will be able to not only do content marketing to help you along, but you're also going to be doing content selling to help you along. And all content selling is the act of a social network loving what it is you do. They comment on it, they share it, and they build upon it. And that's where content marketing truly is going, I believe anyway, and so do many others, for 2015. Even from the very beginnings when Steve and I started doing this, it's changed greatly. There are so many new plugins available for WordPress. There's so many new tools that are available to the content marketer, to the curator, who is trying to, figure it out. And those who have figured it out are the ones who said, oh, nuts to this. I'm going to do a blog on something I really have passion for. And it ends up being their full-time job just because they're 100% involved in what is going on. They're out there on the social networks working it. They're sharing it. They're getting people to talk about it. And it's something we need to do too. It's not, content marketing isn't about, just doing your blog post and hoping people come there. That's the old way of doing it. And that old way was in 2014. It's changed today. Now we've got to put content together for individuals that they want to share, that they want to get out there. And that's why I say it's important to follow your passion and start sharing that information that's important not only to you, but it's important to your niche as well. And just putting it on your blog isn't enough anymore. You've got to get out there in the social networks and share it. There are some tools that'll help you do it, but a true content marketer, a pro, I guess I'm not a pro yet because I didn't put my own content on the shares that I put out there. But you need to do that as well, and you need to follow up. So, this is a changing game. And it's important to have people to help you along the way. So for anyone who's a guest tonight, I'm going to invite you to go to curationworks.com and at least sign up for free because there's good information. So let's go over the curation strategy. So you've picked your topic. You're going to vary your sources. You're going to be very selective. You're going to organize. You're going to pick the best of the best out there. And you're going to adhere to ethical best practices. And you're going to add value by providing insights, opinions, and context. I just go to this slide for 1 second here. In this article, I forgot to mention this. In this article, there is an image. It's a thumbnail image on the left-hand side. Now, when you click on that image, it opens up an article from HubSpot. And they have a fantastic image that you can pin or send to yourself or download. Now, I suggest you download it because it's very, very important. Although this image applies to, I wonder if I can get that to come up on desktop sharing. Let me try that, if you don't mind. Give me 1 second. Okay, that's not going to work. I have to download a whole bunch of stuff, and I don't want to do that right now. But with the infographical get view, if everybody goes there right now and clicks on it, it's pretty cool. It gives you a little bit of a roadmap on how to make curation work for you. Recognize your content's importance. Target your content. Who are the influencers and buyers? And you have to speak to them authentically. You can't lie to them. People know that. That's why people don't go to mainstream news anymore. Choose the right content. Realize that audiences have different information needs based on their context. Find the best content. make sure the relevant content can be discovered with ads, infomercials, advertorials, social, and placements. It's pretty easy. Use the right content. Automate, automate, automate. We talked about automate today. And measure your results. Your results might not be, sales today. Your results might be, a growing audience. So that's something you're going to have to measure through time. And that's an important thing to do. And from the sales side of things, great content builds a compelling business case for potential people who want to buy your product. I mean, that's what they do. They figure out what it is you're sharing, what you're good at, what you're all about. And, that helps along the selling process. But I'm going to encourage everybody to go download that. And although it's a little, skewed heavy for the, larger organization, put your curation brain on and kind of dummy that, well, not dummy it down, but try to break that down to what a home marketer would do. So, that's one of those things that that's one of the reasons why we have the Curation Works blog to help you along the way. Something we could talk about, during these webinars, and it's great. Steve, did you want to come on up and say a few words? All righty.
Yeah, thanks, Don. I'm going to be pretty brief today. I almost said very brief, but then I thought, no, I shouldn't say that. It's me. Um, First of all, everybody should go look at that blog post. I frankly had not seen it before a little earlier, and that is a perfectly executed, curated post. It has all of the elements that you want in there that I talk about week after week. Don's added a whole lot more of his own interpretation than you need to get away with a good curated post. And that's indicative of something that I want to point out to you. A lot of people react to this whole idea of, well, I'm not, if I'm curating stuff from the big authorities in my niche, what can I add to them? How can I possibly add value to that? I can't compete with them. If I'm curating something from Ray Higdon, how can I possibly, what's my opinion? Did you notice something when Don was talking about when he was putting this post together? What was happening to him while he was doing it? He was learning. He was learning from the people who put together the original article that he was curating. And that's something that happens in the process of doing this. If you're reading, if you set aside 10, 15, 20, 25 really good sources in your niche, and you're reading 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 articles, looking for things to curate every day from all of those sources, you're going to be immersed in the best information in your niche, in whatever niche you choose. And it happens very quickly. In a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, all of a sudden you'll find yourself with a much different feeling. Now, the act of curation increases your knowledge and increases your authority in your own writing, and it'll increase your authority with your readers. Now, something else I wanted to mention, a lot of people have a feeling, and Don mentioned this. He mentioned, things are changing. Well, a lot of people have the attitude of, why do I have to learn this now? Why now I have to learn how to do something else? I just got how to put a blog post up, and now you're telling me I have to learn how to curate and I have to do all this information. Well, that is the nature of the internet. If you look at marketers over the history of the internet, you have to remember the internet is new. as far as marketing is concerned, we're dealing with something that is less than 20 years old, really. 95, 96 was when people really started to figure out, oh, you can make money on the internet. You can get out there and, this we can make money from home, things like that. That started in the mid 90s and the late 90s. And what happened was by the early 2000s, marketers discovered things like funded sponsoring systems. Now, let me ask you something, or just demonstrate to you something. Funded sponsoring systems. How many here have used one of them? Give me a yes in the text chat. If you've built a home business online at any time, and built a list and built a list of leads by using a funded sponsoring system, an online marketing system, that brings, okay, I'm getting yeses. Yes, that's exactly how we met, Janet. And guess what? Most of those systems work by saying, do you want to, they don't put a business out there. They worked by saying, do you want to make money at home, all right, online? And then what happened was when you got in the system, it showed usually several different businesses that people would sign up in. The original downline builders. And that's how business was done on the web from 2000 to 2009, 8 in general. And the reason you took an online marketing system, how to make money at home, to people was because there was a group of people interested in pills and potions and health products. There was a group of people interested in insurance. There was a group of people interested in legal help, and all of the different things that network marketing companies, for instance, provide, or affiliate companies provide. There's but the biggest group of people on the internet by far were people who wanted to learn how to make money on the internet. So what happened was everybody took them what they wanted. Now, what is the one thing that everybody on the internet is looking for today? And it's not pills and potions, and it's not insurance, and it's not any of those individual things, and no, it's not even income. I mean everybody on the internet. It's information. Everybody on the internet is looking for information. What's happened over the last 5 or 6, 7 years is that it used to be, Mom, why is it that it takes this long for Venus to go around the sun and it only takes this long for the Earth to go around the sun? Go ask your dad. That used to be the answer, right? That's how we went about things. Not anymore. Even my mother, who is going on 90 years old, I'll ask her, how did you figure that out? And she'll say, I Googled it. Everybody is on the internet, wants information. And so as marketers, what do we need to do? We need to give them what they want. If they come for, if they come for the information and we give them the information, then they will come back to us for more information. They will get to know, like, and trust us, that we are providing them with the best information. It doesn't have to be original, but it needs to be the best information on the subject that they're interested in. And when that happens, then they will buy from us whatever it is that we happen to put in the sidebar of our website. Okay, whatever it is that, and like Don was saying, it doesn't have to be even related. If you've got a thing for hiking, well, it's probably smart if you want to, put in as your products things that have to do with hiking, but it doesn't necessarily have to be so. I know people who are curating blogs on subjects like preserving historic buildings in the state of California. And every 3 or 4 posts is about, hey, for you guys who are interested in making money at home, or would you like this course about blogging, and how to do a blog like this? That can go in the sidebar. It doesn't necessarily have to be completely melded together in that sense. If your passion is way off the beaten track of making money at home and things like that, there is still going to be a way to put it all together. Consult with people who know what they're doing. Talk to Don. Talk to me. There's a way to figure it out. At any rate, I just wanted to touch on those 2 points. This is all about giving people what they want today. They want information. The more you do it, once you commit to it, the more of an authority you will find yourself being. It's surprising how much of an authority you are and how quickly it happens if you just dive into this. And like Don said, the best way I know how is to, I put together all those videos for you guys. As a member of Curation Works, you've got like 35 videos that you can see, and I've got another one about half done right now to add to the bonus video. So anyway, that's all I wanted to throw in. Thank you, Don, and back to you.
Steve, thanks for that. That's awesome. I sound so excited, don't I? My apologies there. That's funny. So Curation Works, ladies and gentlemen. The name says it all. And, just like the whole industry of curation marketing, content marketing is evolving, so are we. And we always try to stay on top of the new trends that are helping in order for us to help you along. That's why we have the Skype group. So listen, get out there, start marketing. If you want to, talk about, is it, best to maybe we could put, a brief little thing up on Facebook. We could start a conversation. What's better, aggregation or true curation or creation or all three? But once again, if you're just simply an aggregate site, it could work, but you've got to be willing to get out there in the social networks and really, really sell it. If you are following a subject or a passion, you want to follow that subject or that passion in the groups that are available on Facebook. You want to get involved with those passionate groups. You want to be able to put your ideas, front and center. You want to be able to put your links out there to try to encourage the community, to pipe in on what you're talking about too. And over time, if you are consistent in providing the information that your niche is looking for, then you will succeed. You will succeed. But here is here's a little, here's something you should think about. If you've been banging your head against the wall trying to sell a product or service and it's not working out for you, why don't you try setting up a blog where you're following your passion and you put your products and services as an advertorial, where you tell a story, where you're enthusiastic about, what you've got, where you present the problems, you present alternatives, and you present the solutions. And by creating advertorials in that way, in that fashion, it's non-intrusive to your readers, and it kind of draws them in, because you're able to be that craftsperson, that curator, that will be able to identify what it is your niche market is looking for. But once again, it will take time to develop the expertise to know who the influencers are. Maybe not for you, because if we all have a passion, we already know who the influencers are. Just grab their RSS feeds and start curating about it. Add your voice to it. Share it. and put your products and services in the sidebar. Make them your ads. Have an advertorial. And Curation can help you create that advertorial too. It doesn't have to be something you create yourself. So listen, if you're not a member of CurationWorks.com, take a look at it. Get back to the person who invited you to this presentation. And remember, you're not alone in this process. That's why we created this program. That's why we have our Skype group. That's why we have the blog. There's a contact us section on the blog where you can ask any question you want, and we'll get back to you on it. It's really that simple, and we'll help you with any problem you have. So that's what Curation Works is all about, and that's what we do. We stay on top of the trends, we provide advice, and we work with you hand in hand if that's what you require. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all the greatest results this week. May you create the content that will result in incredible traffic for you and help you realize the dream you're looking for. But remember, blog about your passion. Blog about what makes you tick. Because if you're blogging about something that doesn't really make you tick, people will know it. People will see through it. So with that, any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Because I'm going to put up a YouTube video for those of you who are a bit late, and you could take a look at that. And, basically, provides an overview of what I tried to talk about tonight too, but in a little bit more elegant way. 100 a month for 3 months. Jim, you're in. Talk to Janet after the call. We can set that up for you. Do you have Janet's Skype address? All right. Thank you, Jim. Anybody else? Anybody else? Awesome. Listen, I'm going to throw up a nice video now. Does anyone have any questions? You can type your questions during the video, and we will address your questions right after the video. But let's go to the video. I think it's something well worth listening to. And for those of you who've seen it already 2 or 3 times, my apologies, but you can't see it enough.
Yeah, so basically what we're looking at with newspapers and print publishers is a lot of times they had sort of a monopoly on information coming from feeds like Reuters and many others that they had aggregated themselves. And so now they're upset because basically what's happening is the entire world gets the feed, right? So not only that, but also the producers, the users themselves are becoming producers. So they're producing for each other, like on Facebook and Twitter and so on. And that is also, of course, damaging this sort of exclusive access model. Very much like the music industry had the same model, right? So I think any system based on monopoly right now, by market default, is in trouble, right? Because people go around it and they find other ways. So what they need to do is to incorporate everyone in there. So basically also aggregate people's voices and opinions, like the New York Times has started to do, or things like, of course, Dig and many others that are aggregators, and include that with the professional things that they do without having to be too sort of insular about what they do and how they do it. So I think curation there is key, because most people that have to go through 500 feeds of some sort of news event, it would take them hours to go through it and pick the right ones. Professional reporter can do that in 5 minutes. And they have the skills to select photos and those kind of things, right? And those will be very valuable, but not if you put them under a wrapper. So it's not going to be easy, because having had a monopoly on the viewers and the information has put them into a very sort of privileged position. Now the monopoly of viewers, they go somewhere else, and the news feeds go somewhere else as well. So now they have to create a new platform to where they add value in different ways.
Yeah, no, Barbara, the video's not playing now. It ended, so sorry about that. Did you see the video, Barbara, or no? Did it play for anyone? Did anyone get the video play? Okay, it started for most people. Sorry about that, Barbara. But, I'll give you a quick recap of what the video was all about. What it's all about is that the mainstream media, things that we were used to reading when we were kids, that we relied on to tell us, world events and information that we thought we should know, people aren't using that anymore. People aren't watching the television anymore for the news. People are going to their own sources, and they're going to alternative news places. And the reason being is that the technology that we have at our fingertips now allows the average Joe, the average network marketer, the average affiliate marketer, make a small footprint in that big ocean out there, because people are looking for content from places they trust. And that's what curation is all about. You want to create an environment where your audience begins to know you, begins to like you, and begins to trust you. And when they do that, they share you. And, if they're sharing you, man, and they've got a big network, that could be a lot of new visitors to your website. So, getting back to talking to Dan, where he's talking about, 20,000 website viewers a month, he thought that was great, but he thought, 2 million a month would be better. And I think we all agree with that. And the 2 million a month comes from curating content based on a passion that you represent. Not necessarily the business you represent, but the passion you represent. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, once again, no questions, then we'll end the presentation this evening a little bit earlier. Thank you all. And thank you, Steve. And thank you, Janet, for setting up this great room. We're going to have it totally branded to Curation Works for next week's call, and you'll see it look a little bit different. And looking forward to having you all join us. Thank you all. Have a great evening.